That woke the world up, and I'm not just saying South Africa because it certainly woke the world up, and it's something everybody's talking about. An uproar over the latest online advert by international clothing brand, the store H&M, I think we can say that name, has once again put transformation in advertising and marketing under the spotlight. Since the release of the ad, some local celebrities and members of the public have announced on social media that they will boycott the company. The advert showed a young black boy wearing a top with that slogan written on it, "Coolest monkey in the jungle." To talk more about this, we're joined in studio by Thabang Skwambane, who is the managing director of advertising agency FCB Joburg. Good to have you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you.
So listen, I mean, we saw this advert coming out. What was your reaction to seeing something like this?
Well, I think like everybody, I was quite horrified. It's completely unacceptable to put out any form of communication which refers to people in a specific way. And I think I'm going to use the term a lot in this conversation. The black experience is that the level of insensitivity in marketing and communications has been significantly, it's not raised, but it's actually been unacceptable in the last few years as we reach a more inclusive society.
Yeah. You know, we look at an advert like this, and I mean, you can give us the behind the scenes on something like this, because this doesn't just appear. And this is what confuses me. I mean, you have a brief, you've got a stylist, the advertising agency, the photographers. You've got obviously the model who's just wearing it. It's a young boy. You've got people looking at it. The photos are then developed. It's then put out to see which is a nice photo. I mean, so many people saw this and were part of it before it came out. I mean, how is it possible that a photo like this just got through the loops?
Again, I think that the final point of approval is always obviously with the brand manager, the person who's taking a look at that work. But every part of that process, and again, I think that the senior leadership throughout the process needs to take responsibility. You know, we had issues with Outsurance, with Dove, with Nivea, with and now with H&M. And what's happened in the past is apologies were made, but often junior representatives of that value chain or supply chain were being blamed for it, and I think that's unacceptable. If you're not going to take responsibility for the work that comes out, then you shouldn't be in the position that you're in. You need to take full responsibility as H&M for what came out, and the senior brand managers should look at it and say, what do I need to do to understand the black experience better? And also to take a real deep look at their understanding of what's culturally insensitive and what's not.
Yeah. I mean, the uproar from this particular advert has been immense, and a lot of celebrities have taken to Twitter. A lot of celebrities have come forward. I mean, you'll take who is it? Is it Diddy or someone that's offered $1 million contract to the young man?
Yeah, it's Puffy Combs, whatever his name is
whatever,
now.
No, I also P Diddy, Puffy Combs. I'm not too sure.
I don't know if the uproar is that huge. I just think that it's growing because of the level of insensitivity that marketers and ad agencies have participated in this process. And I think that what we do need to do is have firstly a real conversation about what is appropriate marketing and communications, and then secondly, how do we ensure that we're able to give voice to people who, when they see these sorts of things, are able to raise it as an issue and come up with a very specific or be given the platform to be able to say this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people who were in the room and saw that, just like with Pepsi and Kendall Jenner, so many people would have seen that ad before it actually came out. And again, I'm using the names and I'm calling them out. And I think that as we get one after the next, that level of frustration is just heightened. It's not really a massive blowout right now. I just think that it's reached a point where it's just, we cannot take this anymore.
Yeah, and rightly so, because people cannot be blind to the sensitivities and the uproar that is going to be caused by this. But like you're saying, perhaps it's not bad enough. Perhaps, you know, H&M, so they brought it out. The advert came, Pepsi, the advert came, Dove, you name it, all of these different brands, and yet people still buy the product, and
Correct.
they're still there, and they still get away with all of this. But there is a code, there is an advertising code. I mean, it was the Marketing, Advertising, Communication Sector Code that was written into law in 2016. Has anything changed since then?
Well, so the MAC Sector Charter, which is one of the few charters that have been approved with the new codes as well, it talks about responsible social marketing as a major point, but I don't think that what it is intended is to look at addressing that necessarily. Yes, responsible social marketing is part of that. It's very hard for a code to sit there and start talking about cultural nuances. It's more important for us to actually start having hard conversations with marketers and throughout our industry and the ad industry, as well as production companies, about what is appropriate and what's not. And we haven't reached that stage where we're opening up that conversation to cultural sensitivities. People look at it, and the reality is the black experience is one of, you don't look at it and see it and feel it the same way I do, so that's what's unacceptable. If you don't feel it, then you shouldn't be the one judging the work.
All right. Well, let's leave it at that for now, because I know it's a very sensitive issue that I think we need to talk a little bit more about it, because it just seems to be happening all the time. Thabang, Managing Director of advertising agency FCB Joburg, thank you so much for joining us here on the program.
Thank you, Leon.
All right, let's take a break. We've got a special play out for you after this. Do stay tuned to find out who it is.
The most common triggers for tooth sensitivity tend to be hot or cold food items. It's normally a sharp shooting kind of pain that they describe. I do recommend Sensodyne on a regular basis. Sensodyne works within the tooth structure itself, which will help relieve sensitivity. I've used Sensodyne myself, and I have found great relief with sensitivity, and I can now confidently say to the patients that yes, this will help you.
New Sensodyne Clean and Fresh for advanced cleaning and lasting freshness.
You're good. I'm getting a kiss from our next guest here, and I'm about to get a script from from our floor manager. So now you're getting a glimpse of what happens just as a guest is seated.